Yo Planeswalkers! To create the deck we are presenting you, we remove the red cards starting from an underperforming Nisa deck. The main deck card for sure is Haughty Djinn. No doubts about its standard format potential, a 3-mana flyer that have power equal to the number of instants and sorcery cards in our graveyard, and is also reducing those costs by 1. And we also added some post-rotation standard creatures based on instant spells mechanics, like Diver of Secrets that will transform into a 3/2 flyer in the early game. Considering that we are playing low-cost instant spells, we will active Ledger Connive ability easier, allowing us to have a grave full of cards to pump the Djinn. We will play Spectral Adversary as 4 mana cost, activating its ability to prioritize creating its value. However, we also like to just play it by the end of opponent's drop 2 turn, as flash, and start attacking in the early game. Note that we have here our mana curve. Furthermore, we are considering those 4 creatures as our deck win condition. This deck strategy have only one mission: to kill our opponent as fast as we can with flyer creatures. You know, flying is a ability that is present since the first edition of Magic the Gathering and has a peculiar advantage in the gameplay. Other card games even consider flying because of what this advantage may represent on the metagame. The deck we are presenting you in this video was created with instant spells that have interactions around those creatures. Welcome to the battlefield. Best of 1 match versus Mono Black Midrange deck. Nice starting hand. We go. We have a Leather Shredder and the spells to protect it, like I said on the back. Drop 2 for your opponent. Opponents plays Underdog. Nothing to do here. Pass the turn. In the pass we play Otherworldly Gaze. We put an island in the graveyard. We already have 4 islands to play. Shore Up is the next wall. Pass the turn. As far we can't protect Ledger, we should play right now. Opponents play Tainted Adversary. Nice card. Death Touch is something that we should worry about. Underdogs swing for 3. Pass the turn. In the pass we play Otherworldly as flashback, putting additional 2 lands in the graveyard. Next draw is Haughty Djinn. Now we play Leather Shredder as far we can protect it. There it is. And the opponent is trying to remove Leather Shred with Cut Down. We can protect it with a Shore Up, but look at this, we can do something different here. If we play Otherworldly Gaze, we will trigger Leather Shredder ability, Connive, and the Leather Shredder is no longer a creature with total power less than 5 power and toughness, and the cut down was countered by rule. Otherworldly triggers, we put an additional land in the graveyard, and look at this, we are organizing the top of our library with the next draw as Diver, and after that we have an instant spell to transform it.
Out of my way.
Drop 4 for the opponent. Sorin is the battlefield. Probably the token.
You will serve me well.
Come to the battlefield. Opponent swing for 2 with the adversary. Death Touch, we will not block. Alright, now we have Diver. We can play Leech and protect with Shore Up. Pass the turn. Drop 5 for the opponent. We can block Underdog with Ledger, and the opponent is playing Soul Transfer targeting Ledger. We protected it. Now it is a 3/5 flyer. Sorin is drawing a card. Wow, nice draw, Shieldred. Opponent just passed the turn, and now we are transforming Diver, just like as planned. We can play Haughty Djinn and Protected It with an offer you can't refuse, but we are going to try something different. We will try to kill Sorin, playing Spectral Adversary, activating its ability to phase out the flyer, the opponent's flyer, and now we are free to kill the Sorin, the Planeswalker, pass the turn. Wow, Meteor Massacre. Not that effective cause Leather Shard is still in the battlefield. Kinda a desperate action from opponent side. We attacking with a Leather Shredder and playing Haughty Djinn. Now it is a 3/4 creature. We can protect it with an offer you can refuse. Whoa, Lord of the Forsaken. Some sort of uncommon creature. Not the trend in Mono Black, but it's a great creature. 6/6 flyer with trample, ability to reduce the costs of Underdog comes to play, paying life. Not that bad. We play Delver of Secrets and pass the turn. We can't attack. After all, the opponent now have a flying blocker. Opponents play Sorin, we will have to counter it. An offer you can't refuse. 2 treasures to the opponent, and now opponent have enough mana to play Shieldred. Probably there it is. Leather Shredder ability triggers. We are conniving, drawing a card and discard another one. Discarding ECC Scatter, and we are playing ECC Capture on Shieldred, putting a +1/+1 counter on Haughty Djinn. Now it is an 8/5 flyer. Wow, look at this draw, Sleep Out the back. And let's do the math. If we play Sleep Out the back, we will have an additional instant spell in the graveyard. Haughty Djinn will be with power 9 plus 4 of the Ledger and the plus 3 of the Insect Liberation. We have a 16 damage here. Lord of the Forsaken will be phased out, and the opponent don't have a flying blocker anymore. Nice match. Alright, before our next action scene, let's have a little chat regarding card type and spell strategy. This deck have only 22 lands, and we will explain the why later in this video. We are playing 2 copies of Otherwire. This card is the only way we have to return artifacts and creatures to the opponent's hands in our main deck. Very effective when those permanents have +1/+1 counters on them. We are aware about the risk of drawing the second legendary land, and we are considering this as an exception situation. Activating its 4 mana cost ability also may be a little expensive. In a way, we consider this as a emergency resource. In other hand, we are also playing with 2 copies of the most underrated land in the standard, Crystal Grotto. This card represents a card advantage by scrying 1 and fits nicely in every monocolor deck. So let's establish the deck archetype as far we are looking to our win conditions right now. Our understanding regarding a tempo deck is different than the one we are sharing with you here. Tempo is about disrupting opponent spells and destroying their permanents as well until have the adequate game situation to play a win condition. This is exactly what we are doing here with Haughty Djinn, but look, we have other creatures with different approach. That's why we discarded its nomination as tempo deck. By other side, this deck would be considered as an aggro because of our 14 creatures with flying representing a good battlefield presence. However, having 8 disruption and 12 other protection cards, this makes our deck a Mono Blue Midrange deck. Yes, now it is justified nomination deck. Not so aggressive and not that much controlling. Now look at this. Card advantage with Otherworldly Gaze, disrupting opponent creatures spells with the essences, and protecting our creatures with only 1 mana cost instants. That's a nice combination. Only having instant speed spells in our deck is a consistent pillar in the game, well known by us all. Now it's clear, we have a nice balance between creatures and instant spells, establishing our Mono Blue Midrange deck. Best of 1 match versus Grull Good Stuff. Starting hand with 3 Island, good starting hand. However, we don't have any win condition right now. We can try to find it with Otherworldly Gaze. We go. Drop 1 for the opponent, playing River Tears, Overlook, looking for a forest or mountain. There it is, a forest. In the past we play Otherworldly Gaze. We will put the island in the graveyard. You know, this deck doesn't need that much of mana. Essence Scatter and pass the turn. Drop 2 for the opponent, playing Cassidy, and we counter with Essence Scatter. We draw March, pass the turn. Drop 3 for the opponent, and the opponent plays Top Yard Stomper, something that we should not let enter the battlefield. A big trouble in the future. Drop 4 for us, we draw an offer you can't refuse. Pass the turn. Drop 4 for the opponent. Devilish Volley is in the battlefield. 1-3 haste. We took you1. In the past we play Otherworldly Gaze again. No creatures. Putting all 3 cards in the graveyard. We draw another merch. Pass the turn. Opponent just passed the turn as well. Skipped an attack. And now play Thundering Rage. We can counter with Essence Capture. No target for the +1/+1 counter. Opponent swing for 1. We take another one and we go to 18. Opponent plays Fight Regan. We are countering with an offer you can't refuse and 2 treasures to the opponent. So the opponent is playing another Devilish Valley. Let's spend our instant spells. We have some sort of overload of instants here. Phasing out 1 Devilish Volley just to it not become a 2-3 creature and attack us. We play Ledger Shredder. Now we have something in the battlefield. Unfortunately, opponents also have something. Topiary Stomper is in the battlefield. Devilish Volley is now a 2-3 creature with a trample, attacking with both, and we can try blocking one of those. Okay, we go to 15. Opponent pass the turn. We should have played any spell like Sleep Out the Back before, cause as second spell in our turn to pump Leather Shard, because it should be a 3-5 creature with flying right now. Yes, and now it's triggering again with the creature of the opponent, and it should be a 4-6 flyer. We did a mistake. Yes, we should have pumped the Leather Shredder before. Well, the mistake is done. 2 Topiary Stompers, 2 Devilish Volley, Reckless, Storm Chasers also in the battlefield, making the second Topiary hasty. We will try to skip this opponent's attack turn, phasing out 3 creatures, and now we have only 1 Topiary. Unfortunately, we didn't pump it Ledger, so we can't block it. We draw a Spectre adversary, just passing the turn. Wow, Silverback Elder. I like it. Destroying enchantments, artifacts, and also the possibility to gain life via another castle, triggering Silverback ability, and also Ledger Shredder. We draw in an island. Well, not too much to do here. Devilish Valley is now a 4-3 creature, doubles its power. And that's it. Nice match. We are using only 22 lands cause of the mana average of this deck. Look, we have a quarter of the deck costing only 1 mana, or there are 14 cards costing only 2 mana, and the 4 copies costing 3 mana. Exactly, the Djinn. This makes this deck the mana average of only 1.6. Furthermore, Otherworldly Gaze is a nice card to plan the next 3 draws, allowing us to advance drawing a land card. We are also bringing an offer you can't refuse from the sideboard to the main deck, at least 2 copies. The strategy around this card is to counter our own instant spell, maybe Otherworldly Gaze for example, and the ramp for 2 treasuries, enabling us to play cards like Haughty Djinn and reserve enough mana for its protection. Not only a emergency disruption spell, but also a ramp spell, this card is exactly what it is saying, an offer you can't refuse. It replaces spell Pierce in the main deck and in the sideboard as well. The River of Secrets is benefited in this deck due to the quantity of instant spells that we have in our deck. In the early game, this card represents our best chance to win the match when it's transformed. We also have many spells that will protect it from removal and global removal spells by having only 2 mana available in the match. Honorable mentions to Backstreet Breezer. We tested this card, and our understanding is that it will feel fit to another archetype deck. Otherworldly Gaze does not allow us to draw any card. However, we have the opportunity to look at the three next draws, and this card have synergies that justifies we having it in our deck. The first one is that it will enable us to make an instant spell be the next draw to transform the Delver of Secrets. Second one is we will have the opportunity to play it as flashback ability to activate Leather Shredder Connive ability. And the third synergy is that the Otherworldly Gaze will enable us to fill our graveyard with instant spells to pump Haughty Djinn. Note that Consider and Impulse are good card options with low cost draw and instant speed, but those two don't have such value as Otherworldly Gaze has. Honorable mentions to Combat Research. This enchantment was removed from our list just because it's not an instant or sorcery spell. Shore Up is the best new card that we have to protect our creatures from removal spells. It is better than Fading Rope because we will not have problems returning a Insector Aberration or Leather Shredder full of +1/+1 counters to our hands. We also will have the opportunity to suddenly untap our creature and block an attacker. Planar Incision is also an honorable mention, but we discarded it from our list because of its cost. Sleep Out Back is not only effective against removal spells, but it's also effective to protect our creatures from global removal spells, like Depopulate, Invoke Despair, and can prevent us to sacrifice a creature on turn 3 by Liliana of the Veil ability. The +1/+1 counter is for sure a nice bonus. Essence Capture is having some bad synergies with our 2 copies of Crystal Grotto, however it is totally acceptable for us. Again, the +1/+1 counter is a nice bonus. Essence Scatter must be replaced when our opponent is playing with cards like Kumano, Kiki-Jiki Reflections, or the Restoration of the Gajo. One important point is that none of those sagas are win conditions for a deck, besides their well-known value in the game. Leather Shredder is our option because have both benefits as Suspicious Stowaway and the Storm Chaser Drake, and in addition may work as a flying blocker for us. As we mentioned before, it has a nice synergy with the Djinn, because the Connive ability will allow us to fill our graveyard with instants in a faster way. Spectral Adversary almost lost its place by the new Dominaria United set card, Vesuvian Diplomacy. Different purposes we know, however both have the best value by playing as drop 4. We opted for 2 copies of opting for 2 copies of any of those 2 cards represents a nice win condition to your deck. It's up to you. We talked a lot about the Djinn before. For sure it has a considerable advantage on Tolarian Terror because of its flying ability, and also it is usually entering the battlefield in the middle game, differently from Tolarian Terror that is entering the late game often. Haughty Djinn have a natural protection against the trending removal spells like Cut Down, Lightning Strike, and its only fear is about Valorous Stance. March of Swirling Mist is also considered by us as win condition. cause it can totally cancel an opponent turn attack by phasing out its creatures, or provide protection to more than one of our creatures from global removal spells. Impede Momentum was also tested by us in our deck, however it had an underperforming due to its speed, it's a sorcery, and the unfitable purpose in our deck strategy. Now let's try sideboarding. Having 2 copies of an offer you can't refuse in our sideboard will complete the 2 copies that we have in our main deck list, allowing us to have a disruption spell for other opponent planeswalker spells like Elspeth Resplendent, global removal sorceries like Invoked Spare, and huge enchantment sagas like the Cruelty of Jix. Witness Protection is a totally underrated card, working for us as a removal spell for cards that we could not disrupt, like Jig Reflections, Shieldred, Sanctuary Warden, cause this 1 mana cost spell is making all those creatures a 1/1 creature with no abilities. Geist Wave is an emergency sideboard card that works nicely against creatures with +1/+1 counters on them. May cause some problems for the removed cards with the 5 new Capena's enchantments that have the hideaway ability, and also is effective against big tokens like the Trifolk that the Renan 7 creates. Unlicensed Horsey is for sure the best standard format card to exile cards in the opponent's graveyard, making this card very effective against the underdog card, or any reanimator deck, or decks based on Invoke Justice, or cards that needs to have other cards in the graveyard. Haughty, Djinn and Tolarian Terror are good examples. Urtai Scorn was placed by us instead of Negate because of its synergy with Haughty Djinn, that will reduce its cost as well, and it is disruption for every spell, to not only non-creature spells. Third match, best of 3 versus Mono White Midrange, based on value on spells with artifacts and enchantments. Very bad starting hand here. We go in white. We will play Diver and try to find some land with otherworldly gaze. Luckily, Diver transformed into Insectly Aberration. We swing for 3, drop 2 for the opponent. We play Otherworldly Gaze in the pass. Whoa, we did a mistake here. Faithful on our Diver. We lost our creature, we didn't draw any land. Okay, let's play the second Odawara. The legendary rule was applied. Drop 3 for the opponent, Lion Setch, and we can't counter it. No land for it. Pumping Lion Setch. No, we will just pass. Leather Shredder. Pass the turn. Drop 4 for the opponent. Pumping Lion Setch. It's now a 3/3. We take 3. Opponent just Pass the turn. We draw a land. Finally our second land, we just pass. We will try to counter with Essence Scatter. Swing for one. Drop 5 for the opponents. Attacking with Lion Setch. We took 3. Wedding announcement, nothing to do here. At last we can draw a card with the clue. Land. Okay. Our third land finally. Giver is transforming. 3 to flyer. We have 3 mana. Swing for 3. Opponents can block. Pass the turn. Now we have something here. The worst scenario just passed the restoration of Engagement. Okay. Opponent swing for 4. I believe that now the match is just a matter of who kills the opponent first. 4, we go to 10, opponent is 13, sacrificing Reliquary, drawing 2 cards. Good value, I liked it. We play Otherworldly Gaze in the pass. The Djinn is on the graveyard. Sleep back to pump our Insect Liberation. Attacking for 4 damage. Opponent goes to 9. Restoration. Triggers and opponent discards a card and returns Reliquary. The Wandering Peril. I think the opponent knows that we have March in hands. Our card is revealed. I believe that the opponent played the Planeswalker just to try to take some hit, distribute the damage and win the match. After all, we are in a damage dispute here. Nobody is worrying about blocking the attacks. March of Fury Mist, targeting Insect Liberation and Lion Sack. Opponent is pumping Lion Sack as much as possible. Attacking with the token. Wedding announcement now have 3 counters. Opponent's creatures are +1/+1. We will attack the opponent, ignoring the Wandering Emperor. Playing Ledger Shredder, we can protect with his Slipper off the back. Last trigger of the Genjo. Gravity Adversary. We are in trouble here. Oh, we can phase out it before it gets any counter on it, and the opponent's creatures will not be pumped. That's all that we have to do here. Yes, we are sure. I don't understand why the counter is still on the adversary. Do you? We will have to block Lion Sack right now.
Remember your training.
Little damage here. He goes to 4. Nice draw. Shore up and Insect Liberation will kill the opponent. Let's check our sideboard. We should remove essence capture and replace for witness protection, cause we will can try some removal instead disruption. Our opponent have a low mana cost creatures. After all, I believe that it's okay. We are removing one copy of Leather Shredder, one copy of Haughty Djinn, and we will try to counter the artifacts, planeswalkers, and enchantments of the opponent. And we will remove March and add 2 copies of Geist Wave. Round 2, let's go. Nice starting hand. Drop 1. We play Dilver and pass the turn. I mean, we should protect. Lessons learned from the first round, you know. Lion's Setch, nothing to do. Let's try to too bad. To try to organize the top of our library. Now we can play Diver with protection. Drop 3 for the opponent. Pumping Lion's Setch. We took 2. Opponent pass the turn. We draw Witness Protection and let's play it on Lion's Setch. I believe the opponent will pump it again. The last time. Now it lost its ability, but it's still a 1/1 creature. Attacking with Diver, we should not block the next turn. Drop 4 for the opponent. Swing for 3. We go to 15 and play Otherworldly Gaze in the pass. There it is, Fateful Absence. We are protecting with Sleep out the back. Otherworldly triggers and we will put 1 island in the graveyard and organize Sharp to be the we are holding mana for the Wara, so now we have a 4 mana, swing for 2. Opponent goes to 17. Opponent swing for 3. We go to 12 and play Odawara. Oh my gosh, merge, white merge, nothing to do here. Diver was exiled, pass the turn. Lion's Setch, we counter it with an Essence Scatter. Intrepid Adversary, I believe that it's a desperate action here. Pass the turn. In the past we play Otherworldly and we will put Otherworldly and an offer you can't refuse in the graveyard. Pass the turn. Anointed Peacekeeper. I believe that it is the sideboard. We counter it, pass the turn. I mean, opponent is attacking. 3/1 lifelink. Intrepid Adversary, nice card. In the past we are playing Otherworldly Gaze. We will put an island in the graveyard and set Haughty Djinn as next draw. All the water for the next. Djinn is in the battlefield. I believe that we have advantage right now in this round. 5/4 flyer. The restoration of a Genjo, nothing to do. Now we have a blocker. Opponent pass the turn. Otherwise, we attack for 5 damage. Restoration triggers. We will try to untap Haughty Djinn and block Intrepid Adversary. Opponent is thinking. This is the decisive move in this round, you know. Yes, and the opponent won this. March exiling the Djinn, nice play. We took another 3. Wedding announcement, nothing to do here. Other Woodley Gaze in the pass. We put an island in the graveyard, and the next draw is Witness Protection, targeting Intrepid Adversary. Restoration triggers. Welcome Vampire. We took another 2. Slipper out the back. Okay. That's it. In the sideboard, I believe that there's not too much to do here. Maybe Analisys the Haughty, but I think it's okay. We can just try Witness Protection on this set. Good hand here, but only 1 mana. Temptive, but we should not take. Mulligan, and now it's okay. Yes. We return 1 Witness Protection to the library. Drop 1, pass the turn. There it is, Crystal Grotto. We spry 1. We can move an instant to the bottom of our library and look for a creature. Essence Scatter, countering Lion Setch. Lion Setch, in my opinion, is kind of a sideboard, but seems that the opponent's playing it as main deck. It's a good card. I like the opponent's deck. Working nicely with the reliquary land, and have a, from the enchantment side, have a wedding announcement and the Genjo, and from the artifact side have Lion Setch, and also maybe some vehicle. The second Lion Setch is countered. There it is, Bankbuster. Let's try to organize the top of our library. Ledger Shader is a nice draw. Now we have a creature. pass the turn. Lion Setch again, probably 4 copies on opponent deck, I mean main deck. Pass the turn, Witness Protection on Lion Setch. Oh, opponent even tried to pump it, okay, we swing for 1. Oh, opponent was holding mana for the Angel. We are protecting Ledger. Connive's triggers. Now we have a 2/4 flyer. Opponent can't Grull the Bankbuster. Nothing to do against March. Nice. I don't know if it's sideboard, but it's working nicely against us. Exiling our wind conditions. Wedding announcement is on the battlefield. Drawing card with relic query. I really liked it. This deck has much of value on every card. Very consistent deck. Opponent swing for 2. Geist Wave in hands. I was thinking Geist Wave to return Lion Setch to opponent's hands and removing the counters on it, the blood inclusion counters. But right now it's not working because Witness Protections already removing the ability. Anointed Peacekeeper, probably sideboard. Don't know what the opponent will choose to cost additional 2 mana. Geist Wave, okay. I couldn't think anything better anyway. Okay, Bankbuster screwed by Anointed and swing for 6. Geist Wave on Bankbuster. Not too much to do here. We took another 2. Wedding triggers for the 3rd time. Witness Protection on opponent's creature, and I think that's it. Not too much to do here. We took another 6, we go to 9. In the pass we play Otherworldly Gaze. Let's try to... Okay, the Wandering Pearl is the battlefield.
I'm not overconfident. You're just underwhelming. We must
Thanks for
protect
watching.
the people.
See ya.
Not about net deck lists. Not about streamers' life. Not about game economy facilitation. Not about my opinion. Not about my lucky playing draft. Not about legacy format new combos. Thanks for watching and see you in the battlefield.
Keep watch for intruders.